away. After losing to the Super Bowl champion Bears in the 1985 playoffs, the Giants were a team with tunnel vision, with one goal in mind. The next Super Bowl would be theirs. And sure enough, they played the 1986 season like a train storming down a mountain. New York won 11 games in a row heading into the Super Bowl, the last 4 by an average of 28 points. The Giants merely used the playoffs as a couple of tune-up scrimmages, outscoring their opponents 66-3. While New York had taken the expressway out to the West Coast, Denver took a much longer and much more difficult drive to Pasadena, specifically a 98-yard drive. Bronco quarterback John Elway had officially established his greatness by conducting the famous drive in Cleveland to send the AFC Championship game into overtime before Denver won 23-20. But if the Broncos thought the road out to California was rocky, well, they hadn't seen anything yet.
Game program, Super Bowl program.
Open that today.
What's the problem with that lock?
I think it's Russell.
Good afternoon from the Rose Bowl, where the Denver Broncos will be meeting the New York Giants.
It is a big question whether the Giants, with their outstanding defense, can handle the trickery of John Elway.
I love you, man. Let's do it. Do it together. Good kid.
You worked a long time for this, all right? You got an opportunity to be world champs right now. You can be what you want to be, all right?
60 minutes away from world championship, man. All we got for 60 minutes, all right? We'll be world champions, all right? So let's go.
Part of the celebration.
In Southern California sunshine at Pasadena's Rose Bowl. The underdog Denver Broncos face pro football's dominant team, the New York Giants, and the constant pressure exerted by their finest player, linebacker Taylor. Denver set out to use Taylor's aggressiveness against him by guiding his momentum around the pass pocket to give quarterback John Elway running room underneath the rush. Well, Elway's skill with a scramble gave the Broncos an added dimension in their uphill battle against the NFL's best defense. It was number 7's powerful right arm that posed the greatest upset threat. Elway had come of age during the playoffs, and now New York faced pro football's most potent new weapon, combining mobility with long-range accuracy.
He eludes the rush. Lets it go long. Out there is Vance Johnson. He catches the ball at the Giants 32.
Elway led the Broncos to 10 first-quarter points against a team that had given up only 3 during the entire playoffs. Rich Carlos tied a Super Bowl record with a 48-yard field goal, and Elway pulled off a perfectly executed quarterback draw. With Elway in charge, the team that some had said had no chance now seemed capable of pulling off the biggest upsets in Super Bowl III and a man named Joe Namath. Meanwhile, Giant quarterback Phil Simms seemed destined for a less dramatic role.
Dick, 82 Dick, DQ on 1.
For most of the year, Simms' job was to keep the ball-controlled New York running game on track. But in the most important game of his life, a bolder Phil Simms stepped forward. On 9 first-down plays in the first half, Simms threw for 9 completions. This surprising strategy kept the Denver defense off balance. and allowed Phil Simms a moment in the sun to match John Elway's pass for strong arm pass. Leading Giant rusher Joe Morris also found himself in a new role, running pass routes and play fakes instead of inside traps and quick pitches. New York's new offense also led to first quarter points.
All right, Zeke, wide flag, the under.
Tight end Zeke Moat was sent in motion, and with Denver's 7-man line expecting a run on first down, Simms once again crossed them up with a play fake and a pass.
Their first and goal of the sixth, trailing 3-0. Simms drops, he looks, he fires, it's a touchdown. He gets Zeke Moat, having left it right over the middle. And Simms
Hey, they covered the front. I had to wait for you to come back.
Thus far on both sidelines, offense was calling all the shots.
He was going to protect against the run. 3-man front with a mug over the right guard and another backer outside of the left tackle. A great shot on LT, baby, on that screen. That's a Negro if I ever saw one. All right. Great protection, baby.
Traditionally, Super Bowls have been decided with defense. But the first 15 minutes of the game's 21st edition saw defenders pushed around and pummeled, struggling to keep up with the end-zone-to-end zone track meet that was developing. In another reversal of Super Bowl form, neither team relied on running the ball. The sweat and sinew of this contest was pass protection and pursuit, opening the way for a classic quarterback duel. John Elway and Phil Simms combined for 13 completions and 13 attempts, moving their teams up and down the field at will and setting a Super Bowl record for first quarter points.
They're down and go. He runs it on the draw, and John Elway goes in.
Simms trying to throw down. Touchdown.
So far, this has the makeup of one of the all-time Super Bowls. And after the first quarter of play, the score is the Denver Broncos 10, the New York Giants.
At Woodcock Ford, low over.
How will we move it? How will they stop us? Play pass on them, John.
As Denver, on the throwing of John Elway, is taking apart the best defense in football.
Upset was in the air, and Denver head coach Dan Reeves decided to put the Giants away by running right at their strength for a touchdown that was only 36 inches away. On first down, Elway ran a sprint out to the left and was stopped for no gain by Lawrence Taylor. Elway had shown a pass option to slow Giant pursuit, but Taylor stayed with them all the way, and after being neutralized thus far in the game, LT made his first big play with a touchdown-saving tackle. On second down, inside backer Harry Carson shut down a Sammy Winder trap up the middle for a 2-yard loss. On third down, Denver tried a sweep left away from Taylor and Carson, only to find their unsung equal, number 58, Carl Banks.
Now when they have first and goal at the 1, and they end up fourth and goal from the 6. Exactly.
On fourth down, Rich Carlos, who had earlier tied a record for the longest field goal in Super Bowl history, set another for the shortest field goal miss.
Goes wide left. Carlos fires a fifth time and discusses the Giants.
Suddenly, the sleeping Giant was fully awake. Later in the second quarter, the Giants flushed Elway out of the pocket, and this time they didn't let him escape.
George Hart tackles Elway into the end zone for a safety.
Elway had finally run out of room in his own end zone as George Martin's sack for a safety shrunk the Bronco lead to 10-9. After dominating much of the first half, Denver was now a mile low. Missed opportunities had replaced confidence with doubt. And when Elway once again took his team inside the 20 with time running out of the half, the outcome of 3 touchdown tries and another short Carlos field goal could almost have been predicted.
30, we'll get at least 3.
Kubiak holds, the kick is on the way, and it looks to be good. No! It is not.
Denver left the field with a 10-9 lead and the awful premonition that the roof was about to fall in.
And I know everybody wants it. We've had some things in the first half went against us. We can't do anything about it. What we got to do is to win the second half, and the only way to do that is play one play at a time. Let's go as hard as we can, man, every play. Let's go. Let's go, Jets! Go!
As twilight descended, Denver prepared to protect its lead in Super Bowl 21. The Broncos stood their ground on New York's first 3 plays from scrimmage. But then the Giants rolled the dice and changed the course of the entire game.
This is Landetta's 4th punt of the football game. Strict play. Strict play. Rutledge is in the game. The backup quarterback, and Denver doesn't have defensive backs on the field. The Giants on 4th and inches as Rutledge looks things over.
Come on, baby. Let's go, baby.
Make a big one. Let's go!
Giants with the first trick play of the game on 4th down and inches from their 46-yard line. Rutledge keeps the ball and dives ahead, and I don't know if he got there. It all depends on the spot.
It's close, Don.
Bill Parcells on the sideline goes to the bag of tricks first in this game, and the Giants keep the drive alive.
New York's 4th down gamble was the spark that ignited one of the most explosive quarters in Super Bowl history. Every pass Phil Simms threw was caught. A consecutive string that would reach a record-setting 10 in a row.
Simms has the ball. Simms throws, end zone. Oh, touchdown!
And imagine what the halftime talk was. He said, we're going to go down, we're going to get the lead, and we're not going to look back.
The Broncos tried to marshal their own support to stem New York's cresting tide of momentum. Through 2 quarters, the Giants had tested Denver's facade with probing taps. But now those probing taps were about to become sledgehammer blows. In the first half, Joe Morris had served as both pass receiver and decoy. Now Morris returned to his familiar runner's role, and the Broncos could do nothing to stop him. Number 44, Maurice Carthon, a guard in fullback's clothing, threw a series of shattering blocks to spring Morris free. With Carthon's crunching escort, overpowering line blocking, and Joe's knifing runs, the Giants controlled not just the line of scrimmage, but the tempo of the game as well. The result, another New York score and a 19-10 Giant lead.
Are now beginning to take some control of the football game, Don.
And now the Broncos, a troubled team as the 3rd quarter wears on and night begins to fall in Southern California.
With darkness came more Giant deception as Phil Simms orchestrated the second and most damaging trick play of the game.
Second and 6, pitch back, Morris back to Simms, flea flicker, man is open. Bobby Johnson way downfield, now they go in the second half have been a trick play. Morris takes it on the fake sweep. Back to Sims. McConkey catches it. What a season for this kid. Was with the Giants. Released, picked up by the Green Bay Packers. He was going nowhere there. Now, almost a touchdown catch in Super Bowl 21. First and goal from the 1-yard line. Power set. Joe Morris near side to the right. He's going in, standing up, and this one's history. Unless John Elway does something unbelievable as his team trails at the moment by more than 2 touchdowns.
The Giants' run of 17 unanswered points was due as much to their stifling defense, led by linebacker Carl Banks. In the third period, the defense allowed virtually no yardage and not even a single first down. The Broncos' once fluid offense all but evaporated under the searing charge of the Giants. And Elway's previously accurate passes now sailed wide of their targets. Denver's absence of a running game was illustrated by the fact that Elway himself was the Broncos' leading rusher with just 27 yards. At one point, Denver passed 22 consecutive times, but few of these attempts could be considered successful. Denver never could find a way to contain Banks, who made 10 unassisted tackles, 4 for negative yardage.
And now it is all gone against the Broncos. A brilliant first half with the Giants dominating in this third quarter.
The Broncos have run 7 plays for 2 yards in the third quarter.
Pride that had been buried by the Giants' avalanche. Had said it would take a career performance from John Elway to upset the Giants. With both possibilities gone, it was now Elway alone responsible for virtually all of Denver's yardage. As good as Elway was, one great player rarely beats a great team all by himself. And Super Bowl 21 was no exception. The Bronco quarterback actually passed for more yards than Phil Simms, but Simms produced numbers of his own that made NFL history. He connected on 22 of 25 passes for 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a completion average of 88%, the highest for any postseason game in league history. In the grandest of Tinseltown traditions, a star was born in the Super Bowl. Simms' career had its share of setbacks, but now after 8 years of injuries, benchings, and booings, Phil Simms became an overnight sensation on pro football's biggest stage.
The Giants have been pronounced the best, and right now, going for their first Super Bowl championship, their first NFL title since 1956. Sims, unbelievable.
If you vote for the MVP right now, he's the guy. After this day's performance, put him in a class of elite quarterback in the NFL.
With the outcome of the game long since decided, the only drama still remaining was when the Giants' traditional Gatorade dunking of head coach Bill Parcells would finally happen.
Here comes Harry Carson now. He's looking for the Gatorade. Everybody is staying in his stadium. He's got it. Parcells is up there without the headset, and they get it.
The New York Giants won a world championship by excelling in every phase of the game. And now they found just as many different ways to celebrate their accomplishment. From New York's victory dance to Bill Parcells' victory ride, the final moments of Super Bowl 21 saluted a long-awaited moment. After more than a quarter century of trying, the Giants had won the championship of a lifetime. New York's fans had witnessed the culmination of a glittering season, a victory that had transformed the Rose Bowl into the land of the Giants.
You know, it's hard to imagine a quarterback ever bettering the amazing accuracy of Phil Simms in Super Bowl 21. But his MVP performance really came as no surprise. In fact, I remember being out on the field before the game, and I overheard Simms telling his teammates during the warm-ups, "I've really got it today." And you know, he wasn't kidding. An incredible 22 of 25 completions, including 10 in a row. And you know, it's funny how Giant fans had never fully appreciated Simms until this game. He was a controversial #1 draft pick out of Morehead State in 1979, and I remember the draft when his name was announced and everybody booed him. And then he was often injured during the first 5 years of his career, and it seemed like his statistics read more like a hospital chart than a quarterback rating. But then, finally, came that magical 1986 season and the dream-come-true performance in Super Bowl 21. And in the locker room afterward, I remember Simms saying, "After all I've taken over the years, this makes everything worth it." For Super Bowl memories, I'm Steve Saban.